This
Guys,
conference will now be recorded.
No worries, Roland. It happens.
oh, it does. You know, you gotta love technology.
Yep.
It's great when it works. Okay. Let me get to the proper agenda. All right. I would like to open the March 11th, 2021 Board of Health meeting. Sorry for the delay. We had computer issues. It is 6:11 p.m. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Southbridge Board of Health will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information in the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and a requirement to attend the meeting can be found on the Town of Southbridge website at https://www.ci.southbridge.mass.us. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so in the following manner: as visual via cable access, TV, Charter Spectrum, Channel 12. Channel 12, channel 192. No in-person attendance of the meeting of the public. Sorry, I got Beth texting me. Will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the effort that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. So we will open the meeting. It is 6:13 p.m. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Beth Stevens,
Absent.
Okay,
Roland
yes, absent.
Larrow,
Here.
Nicole Duffy,
Here.
Anthony Pastali.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a quorum. Agenda item number 3, accept the minutes of the February 11th, 2021 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review the lengthy minutes?
Yes.
Do I have? All right, who's laughing? Stop it, Andy. Do we have any comments, additions, deletions? I didn't notice anything.
Nope. I didn't see anything.
Nicole?
I think it looks okay.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept as written.
So I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Do I have a second?
Right here. You're only one.
All in favor? Roll call, please.
Roland Larrow,
Yes.
Anthony Pastali,
Yes.
Nicole Duffy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right, agenda number 4, citizens forum. Do I have any citizens that are in the, that are watching and would like to speak to anything that is not on the agenda? Going once, do I have any citizens that would like to speak on any item that is not on the agenda tonight? Going for the third time, any citizens that want to speak?
It is
3:11.
Hearing being none, we'll move on to agenda number 5, COVID-19 update. Mr. Pelletier.
Good evening. Couple of updates today. We received 10 cases throughout the day today, and just as we were on this meeting, I just got notice of another one, but we'll work with the 10 because that's what I've done the math on. I haven't reported them out yet, but 10 cases today. I closed 8 cases today. So that leaves us in a condition of 1,648 total cases since the onset and 72 current active cases. I did the count. I won't get the official state notice until tomorrow, but I did the count going back, and just a rough guess or a rough estimate based on what I counted. Last 14 days, we've had about 85 cases with 1,825 tests. So we end up with a 4.6 positivity rate. That is slightly up from last week. The cases per 100,000 is 35, also up from last week. Last week we were 4.5 and 30 respectively. I look towards next week with some concern. The last 5 days, the last 6 days, we've had 10 cases, 9 cases, 5 cases, 3, 7, and 7. So I don't know how that's going to affect us without knowing how many tests have been taken since the in the last 14 days. So we'll worry about next week. Right now, I think we're going to be in the yellow slightly. So that's our second week in the yellow.
Hey, Andy.
What second week in the yellow? Somebody say something?
Yeah, I did, but I'll let you finish that. I got a question for you.
I was going to say, with our second week in the yellow, we can start to look at opening meetings, things like that, under the understanding that we're still under order number 63, which limits gatherings to 10 people. So if we have a Board of Health meeting with all 4 members, and I will obviously be there, we'll have our records clerk there, that would bring us up to 4, 5, 6 members right there. We would be limiting our citizen attendance to 4. So I'm not sure if the board wants to start looking at that yet, or wait until phase 4 opens up and we see what kind of orders he puts forth, what kind of new guidance he puts forth for indoor gatherings. So that's something that we probably want to take up at our next meeting, because we should have a whole lot more guidance by then, based on what he does on the 22nd. On the 22nd of this month, based on current trends, he is planning on opening phase 4, step 1. I don't know if you remember back in the beginning of this, he set up phase 1. I think it was phase 1, step 1, 2, phase 2, step 3. Phase 3, step 1, 2, and phase 4. There was no step 1. He announced that he's going to open phase 4, step 1. So I don't know what that changes. I can't find a step 1, step 2, step 3, and phase 4. It was just a single phase 4 open up to the new normal. So I don't know where that's going to end up once we get the guidance out on that one. All right, Tony, did you have a question on that, or do you want me to just?
No, I just had a question on the numbers. So you're seeing a
Yep.
small little spike. Are you seeing any like clusters or any type of behavior that you could kind of attribute these small spikes to, or are you just a little bit all around?
I have had a cluster probably about a week and a half ago in one of our businesses. Other than that, I am seeing household members, as has been the trend for Southbridge through this whole thing. We've seen clusters at our adult daycare center. We've seen clusters. Obviously, we are always getting clusters at the rehab center. That is directly attributable to the fact that our rehab center has a COVID wing on it. And when somebody in a rehab center in Auburn or a rehab center in Leicester gets COVID, they get sent to us. So we kind of adopt some numbers that really aren't ours. So those are where I'm finding the clusters. Not a lot of them, and going down now that the vaccine is becoming more and more available to the people that are tending to cluster. The seniors live in our subsidized housing units. They live in our rehab centers. They gather at the adult daycare centers. So as the seniors are getting vaccinated, I'm seeing less activity in the clusters. So, but remember, as of right now, the vaccinations are only quantify this with quotations, good for 90 days. That doesn't mean they're going to go bad at 90 days. That means we do not have any testing beyond 90 days. It's a new vaccine. We have 310,000 years of flu vaccine testing, exaggerated, but So we know the flu vaccine lasts for this long. We don't know how long this lasts because we don't have testing data or long-term testing data. That'll come with time. All right, onward. With this downward trend, the travel order, places that you can travel to or travel from to Massachusetts without quarantining are currently Hawaii, Missouri, Oregon, Washington State, and Puerto Rico. I expect that if there are changes to that, it will be either later tonight or tomorrow. As I said earlier, we are entering phase 4, step 1. Stay tuned to see what the guidance comes in on that. But that's going to happen on the 22nd. If we stay yellow, the town manager and I have been in talks about reopening town hall to the public, concurrent with phase 4, step 1. Seems to me if the governor is opening up the country a little bit, I mean the state a little bit, and we are continuing in a safer pattern, that we probably can tentatively go that step. I would like the board's input on that before I make that a final advisory to the manager. So I would like some discussion on should we open a town hall concurrent with the governor opening up phase 4. Travel order with vaccine. Travel order has been amended slightly. If you had your final vaccine, meaning J&J, one vaccination, or either of the other 2 brands, both vaccinations, if you had it greater than 14 days ago, but less than 90 days ago, you can travel to Massachusetts without quarantining and without testing. So you can travel into the state and basically live your life. That is only good after 14 days from the last vaccination and until 90 days after the last vaccination. Again, because we don't have any testing data beyond the 90 days yet. I imagine that will, I won't imagine, I hope that may change as we get more testing data and we see if there's any residual resistance.
Hey, Andy.
Yep.
Yeah, good luck trying to uphold that. How do people know when someone's received? Is it just, yeah, I got my shots?
No, it's only valid if you're carrying your shot card.
Oh, you get a card from your
You get a card when you get your vaccination. And
I see.
if it's Moderna or Pfizer, they'll want to see both shots recorded on that card at least 14 days ago. If it's J&J, they'll just want to see the J&J.
Look at Roland. Thanks, Roland. Good to see.
Notice I covered my date of birth because I don't want you to know how old I am.
25 years old, huh?
But I do want to point out he qualified.
Yes.
All right. Thanks.
All right, so I want to just do a little bit of, actually, let me finish this up a little bit. As of today, education staff, that's any employee of the school system, whether it be administration, teachers, custodial, they can start registering as of today. Age 65 and older is still ongoing. We still have a lingering list of people that we are assisting here in Southbridge, but that list is dwindling. And we are working on attending to the homebound, the truly homebound. And I'm going to actually, at the end of our conversation here, defer to Roland, because Roland has taken the lead on identifying the homebound as our liaison to the vaccine clinics and vaccine distribution. Regarding the 65 and older, we have linked to some slots that are released periodically, and we are assisting the 65 and older who cannot assist themselves. So we are dealing with that and getting them moved as fast as we can move them. The teachers, the clinic we've been trying to find a way to bring the vaccine to the clinics. We tried to go through CVS and Walgreens, and we have just gotten a cold shoulder from them. We're trying to work with the coalition, the Public Health Coalition, and there's no better progress there. So working with the clinic, working with the other boards of health in the region, we have requested the clinic, and you know the clinic's been planning to open on Saturdays and weekends, but we have requested the clinic to initially reserve those days for the teachers. So they gave us some blocks today. I believe they gave us 850 blocks to register just teachers. Throughout the region, boards of health have made that link available to the schools with a very strong, do not share this link, because if you share this link, you're gonna, I was gonna say screw the teachers, what are the word I'm looking for? You're gonna mess some other teachers out of an opportunity, and they're
Right.
still gonna have to teach class. So don't share this link, it's only for the teachers. We estimate anywhere from 2,700 to 3,000 teachers in our catch basin being the area that Harrington covers. So we've got Tantasco, Shepherd Hill, we've got some big school districts in there. We estimate about 3,000 educators in that. They released 850 sites today. So, and the clinic is hoping to use J&J on that so they can be one and done. But if they can get J&J, we've got a quarter of our catch basin teachers or education staff locked in. If they use the other one, we got an eighth because it's 2 shots. So I think it's good progress. The clinic has set aside 6 weekend days over the next 2 months in order to accomplish the education staff. So if everything works in our favor, we manage to get a lot of J&J. We hopefully will have the education staff done by the end of April. Additional to that, the state is going to open up a whole lot of vaccine sites tomorrow just for teachers, a whole lot of vaccine slots. So I'm optimistic on where we're going to be with the teachers in about a month and a half. All right, and the last thing I have is Governor Baker opened it up to 75 and older. We jumped on partnering with the senior center and some people here in the town hall that have been ridiculously helpful. Without their help, we would have fallen on our face. But Maddie in the clerk's office stepped up with her 2 assistants, and we've been registering everybody over 75. Then he opened it up to 65 and on. Same thing, we've been registering them. My question to the board and my general attitude regarding staying in the registration business. We've been assisting generally the population who is not familiar with computers or might be having a hard time with computers. As we get into the next set, which is probably going to be the under 65s, the grocery people, the more, I'll use the word youths. Do we want to keep resources on registering people, or do we want to just kind of let it out there that you guys are capable? And that's that discussion for the Board of Health. And the first one I mentioned, which was opening up the town hall. I'd like a Board of Health recommendation, yes or no on that. So if we can discuss those topics further, I would appreciate it.
Andy, before I forget, they only gave me dates opening till April 3rd. Are they going to be open the 10th and 11th of April as well? Do you have those dates, those weekend dates?
I believe the 2 days they gave were the 10th and the 11th, but I will know that better after next
Okay.
Thursday's meeting.
Okay, I will double check, and I, if I'm not mistaken, it's still going to be the 8 a.m. till 2 p.m., not a full day as of yet.
And reserved specifically for the teachers, even for the education staff.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Rolly, before we get into discussion, do you want to bring us up to date on the homebound?
All right, what it is, to let you people know, we got some guidance from the state. Originally, I had 6 people on the list. We finally got some guidance on the state, and they sent out a worksheet for questions to ask these people, whether they qualify, or I should say eligible, as a homebound person. So out of the 6 people I had, I contacted everybody today but 1. I contacted them right off and introduced myself to let them know that we're not letting them be alone. And I had very, very good reception to these people. So as I promised them, I called them back today when I had more information. So far, one person I had to leave messages, he didn't answer, so I don't even know if he's around in the hospital, whatever, but I will continue. Today, Miss Ritz handed me, emailed me some other people that are classified they think is homebound, but the state is offering help if we want it, but it was decided today through the Regional Board of Health meeting that we're going to try to do this regionally. Harrington is going to help us with keeping the vaccine as long as each town has their group of responders, if you will, that will go out and handle this. So I have another 4 or 5 I have to contact, but there is a whole list of questions that I have to ask, and there's a whole list of screening that we have to do because, and looking at it rightly so, what is homebound? If someone can get to a doctor's appointment in a chair van, that's not homebound. That's some difficulties, but that does not classify homebound. So we have to follow the rules of the state, and we've been working through this. And one of the individuals I had, he was, where is he? He's 69 years old, an older gentleman. I talked to him face to face, not face to face, but I talked to him honestly, with empathy, and he did not qualify to be eligible for homebound because he did tell me that he was able, with assistance, to get the doctor's appointment, and things of that nature. He told me that he can't stand or walk for long, and I told him that's not an issue because people pull up at the vaccine site and Team Rubicon goes out there with wheelchairs and assists them. So everything possible is being done, and we got to be careful not to, we got to follow the rules. So I only had 5. I'm down to 4 plus the new email that I got later this afternoon from Ritz that I will be contacting. As long as, and we also got an email from the state that the J&J supply did not come in as thought. The J&J is Johnson & Johnson, or the technical term Janssen, the one shot, is not only predominantly being reserved for the educational group, but they want to definitely do this for the homebound. You don't want to go back twice. You have to follow the same rules. You have to have qualified people. There has to be an EpiPen. You have to, and somebody qualified to use it in case there is a reaction. If someone, you have to wait 15 minutes unless someone has had a history of anaphylaxis, an allergic reaction to something. When I got my shot, because I'm allergic to bees, I had to be monitored for 30 minutes. The little bottleneck on the Johnson & Johnson is that when it's thawed out, you've got 2 hours to use it. So this is going to be a logistical fine-tuned challenge to get this done with the Johnson & Johnson. And it may be something like if somebody's got to travel to Brookfield, somebody might, they have coolers and stuff, but there's going to be a logistic that they're not going to be able to take 3 doses and go out because you're not going to be able to get 3 shots done with a monitoring period in 2 hours. So there's other things going, but there is something going on for the homebound. And we're keeping on top of it. Like Andy said, we're going to be open weekends. I'm going to be down there opening up definitely on the 20th. I will be the opening and closing guy. I would like to say if Nicole and Tony, if you have not seen it,
He's already with the town, so.
give me a text, give me a call. Bring your mask, your board members. I'll give you a tour of the place. It is it's phenomenal
Okay.
on the way it goes on. and there has been 99.9%
Yeah, sounds good.
positive results.
Okay, sounds good.
I'll send
Okay.
you a text, Roland. I'd like to see it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, me too.
We accept any kind of sweets. Lot of volunteers, lot of good people. The veterans have been phenomenal with the traffic, so it's really going well. But to Andy's thing, and I can assure anybody out there that's going to look at this, I am on top of the homeless and in constant contact. I have
That's
to take
great.
a doctor's appointment tomorrow, but when I get back, I'm going to be back on the phone.
Yeah, that's huge. That's great, Roland.
Andy,
Please.
before I go, it's the right thing to do. For Andy's 2 questions, I will open it up to the questions on the registration and opening the town hall for discussions. And I'll start with our senior member, Tony.
Thanks, Roland.
Well,
I feel pretty good.
I'm the acting chair. I should go last.
I think we should, as long as the numbers dictate. We're in the yellow. I think we should. It's a step forward. You know, for
And
no other reason.
you're referring to opening town hall, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
because the other thing was Andy's continuing to register.
Well, that's a whole different. You want my opinion on
Let's
both?
talk
or-
about the town hall first.
Okay. Yeah, let's. So I think you should be doing it, Andy.
Okay.
Nicole?
I pretty much agree with Tony. Yeah, I think, if all is well still, it's like, yeah, regarding the town hall to open that, that's great. And, if it's still doable, yeah, I mean, I would agree with that.
I mean, you guys were doing a good job before you closed it down, with the exception of that one-time event. But
Well, we have had, right off the top of my head, 6 employees within the town hall that have had COVID. I believe the number is 6. Of that, I think I can truly trace one event to an in town hall passage.
Right.
It just,
so
so it
right.
hasn't been spread in the town hall, but it has gotten into the town hall on 6 occasions.
Right.
Quickly isolated, quickly moved out.
Right.
So I think we're doing the right prevention and right response. 1 year, 6 cases. I don't think that's a ridiculous number.
Right. And especially what you had just said, 5 of that was employees bringing it in. And I get it. We don't want to allow the spread. However,
Yep.
5 employees as opposed to 5 people from the public bringing it in is
Right.
big
Well, the
difference.
months that we
Right.
were open to the public, we had no cases while we were open to the public before.
Right.
That's good, yeah.
Okay, I guess it's my turn. And I agree with the 2 of you. The town hall has the precautions. They have the rules. You wear a mask. They have the cleaning. The numbers are going down. They're going down in town. They are going down dramatically statewide. I think
Right.
we get back to a form of, I hate to say the word, but some kind of normalcy, but we got to get back to business.
Right.
So,
right.
since Andy brought this up and I want to make sure it's legal, I would entertain a motion that we take. Andy, do you want to vote? We should vote on the board on the consensus.
Yeah, because I'm going to bring it to the town manager and say that it's got Board of Health support.
So I will entertain a motion that the board recommends that what was the date, Andy? That you're looking?
If the governor moves forward on the 22nd of March.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion that as long as the governor moves forward at this time, this board recommends that the town hall will resume to be open to the public effective March 22. So I'll entertain a motion.
Do it, Nicole.
I second the motion. I
Well,
just did.
Well, he was, so the motion, it sounds like, Roland, was that the actual motion or you were entertaining the thought of
I
the
was
motion?
entertaining the motion because as the chair, I'll run the meeting. I'll let you guys make the motions.
Yep.
It sounded pretty formal.
Hey, we
So
gotta do it right.
All right,
So
so
we
I'll
got a
make the motion. I'll make the motion contingent upon Baker's review on March 22nd.
Okay.
That once we move to phase 4, that we reopen town hall.
Is that satisfactory, Andy?
Good,
Yeah.
Andy?
Yep,
Okay.
Okay, I'll second that.
okay.
Okay.
So by elimination, is the board saying, and you don't have to change the motion, I just want to clarify the language. Is the board saying that if the governor does not move forward with phase 4, we would not support opening the town hall?
That's a good question. Hey, listen, I just walked into the registry of motor vehicles the other day, and if they can do it, I think we should certainly consider if we feel safe enough to reopen. So if you'd like me to amend that.
I don't think it needs to be amended. It's just, I need the language. I need somebody to tell me that means that if he doesn't go into phase 4, we don't do it, or if he doesn't go into phase 4, are we recommending we do it? Because if the motion was, if the governor moves to phase 4, you're recommending opening town hall. So does that by default mean if he doesn't move to phase 4, you're not recommending it, or we revisit it at the next meeting?
If I may, for some thoughts, if the governor doesn't go to phase 4, that might be for many other reasons. And I think, in my humble opinion, that as long as Southbridge continues in the yellow, this is the Southbridge Town Hall, this is not the State House.
Exactly.
As long as this town stays in the yellow and continues on a positive train, regardless of what the state does. And I'm just assuming if the state gets worse, we're gonna get worse. But if
Right.
for some other political reason, the governor doesn't want to move to phase 4, because of a lack of vaccine or whatever it may be, that should not have an impact on us being continued in the yellow and opening on the 22nd.
I agree.
Okay.
Yep, we all agree. So
So
does that
Tony,
help, Andy?
I would recommend that you amend your motion to take out the language about phase 4 and just put, if Southbridge continues in the yellow, we recommend we open on March 22.
Okay, all right, so I will make a motion that on March 22nd, as long as the town of Southbridge is still trending in the right direction or in yellow, that we open up town hall, period.
Okay. And I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
Roll call, Madam Secretary, please.
Nicole Duffy,
Yes.
Anthony Pastali,
Yes.
Roland Larishell.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
That's still only good for one vote, Roland.
What's that?
Just because you're throwing absolutely before it,
Absolutely.
it doesn't count for more.
I wanted to see how easy I could derail you. Now, before we get to the other one, I have a question for you, Andy.
Yes.
What will happen if the towns, and I'm looking at the Regional Board of Health, slots that may be allotted to the towns,
Yep.
we don't continue with registration, those slots go away, correct? Because the
If-
only avenue for Southbridge residents will be on the state website, period, whether they're computer savvy or not. That is a question I had, and I hope I'm not
What I
Let
can possibly,
letting the cat out of the bag, but if we don't do registration, what happens to those? And this also goes to the other 17 towns, the same thing.
Yep. Okay, so I've been thinking about this all day because there was some discussion on this at the meeting today.
Yep,
If there are slots allotted for the catch basin
yep,
and all the boards of health get out of the registration business, then I don't think those slots will be allotted to just Southbridge. They'll go to the state and be available to the state. unless the hospital maintains their separate sign-up program. If some of the boards of health remain in the business of registration, we don't want to lose those slots that would be dedicated to Southbridge. So what I would probably do in that case is make it known that I have a link to some slots. If we get out of the business, I would make it known that I have a link to some slots. And if people called me, I would email them that link. What takes time is not saying, oh, it's you. What takes time is, it's a good 10-minute form to fill out. And I've got 3 people working on it, but 600 minutes every time we get 60 slots is a lot of time taken out of a workday. So I would probably keep our slots and make them available. I would email the recipient the link and let them do their own sign up on our exclusive slots. And that's how I would get out of the business if the other boards of health stayed in the business.
I think my own personal opinion from seeing what goes on with Pat down at the center and to see what goes on at the EDS site, it's in our town. The catch basin towns are supporting that facility with money, with staff, with supplies. And that's why there's an allotted, Harrington is allotting a certain amount in the catch basin to take care of our locals that are taking care of the site. And the state doesn't have to know that. I personally do not want to see that go away. I think it's only right that we and I'm speaking about myself, we got to take care of our own people. And if we get rid of the catch basin allotment, then we're taking, and I want to use the adage that we're throwing our people to the wolves, because they are no different than somebody who wants to sign up from Pittsfield, Newton, or Danvers. We've got that right now. It's a regional site. Those of you that know politics, you get a lot more bang for your buck, and it's a lot more difficult to step on you if you are classified regional. So far, the allotment that Harrington has for vaccine really hasn't been played with like some other places. And that was some good phone calls and the point of being regional. That being said, I feel no matter what the other boards of health do, I do not want to see that allotment that is issued to the town of Southbridge, and I'm not going to speak for the other boards, that does not go away. If we're giving, pick a number, if we're giving 100 spots a day or 100 spots a week that they're doing, and we got to share this with 18 towns, 17 others, and they're doing 500 a day, I don't want to lose those spots for Southbridge. I want that avenue, and you're absolutely right. When we get into the open spot, it's going to be easier for people to go on the website and do their own sign up on their own computer when spots for Southbridge are filled. But I do not want to see those spots go away. I think it would be an injustice for our citizens. So I don't know what you want to do with the registration. I think myself that we have to just table this right now, because I don't know when it's going to change. To let you know, with the guidance from the state for Tony and Nicole, Harry has put a link on the Harrington website that they can check off that you are in this educational group. I don't want to mislead and say teachers, but it's anybody who works for the schools, so that they're going to have the shot, and it's only going to be that shot for the weekends. And that's been in the bulletin. That is what has been sent down by the state, that it's legal and right to do. There's no behind the scenes stuff going on here. But as far as the registrations go now, I think no matter what goes on, Andy, and if it works that you can send them a link, I'm good with that to take the workload off. But I don't want to lose that cachet of that cachet of appointments that we've had the luxury to do for our town and the others, especially our town. That's my thoughts on that.
How many minutes did you say 600 minutes that they've spent, Andy?
They generally release upwards of 1,000 slots on any given week. That gets divided by 18 and it comes out to like 64 slots per town.
Yep, and then
And
10 minutes per.
We register, it takes 6, 7 to 10 minutes per town.
And that,
I mean,
that
for registration.
depends on the person. You know, if they have an email address, if they have all the questions answered, you know, I've seen Pat down the Armory do it in 5. And I've seen her do it in 15. It depends on your client when you're gonna be asking them the questions. So round it off at 10, yeah, it could be.
Right, it's not a production line.
Yes, but these are also people that are not computer savvy. This might be Nana that's hard of hearing. She doesn't have a computer. That type of thing.
So
You might not have those hurdles with the younger generation.
So Andy, I mean, maybe is it some blended solution? I mean, do we have to complete the form I mean, I'm not familiar with the process, but I understand putting some of the onus back on the individual who can successfully complete the form is a good thing. So is it something, is there can you poll the people before you even begin the survey? Are you able to, do you have access? Can you complete this form on your own? We'll send you the link, or does it have to be from start to finish?
Well, I think if somebody calls my office and says, yeah, I'd like to sign up for the vaccine, I can say, well, give me your email and I will send you a link. And if they say, all right, fine, here's my email, my guess is that if they have an email, they're probably computer savvy enough to do that.
I agree. I agree.
So, and if they don't have a email, then we'll probably assist them at that point once we confirm that they're a Southbridge resident.
And the new
I
form
think
that.
they're kind of screening it right there.
Excuse me?
Sorry.
It's kind of like screening it a little bit right there. I think that's, I mean, it's like you're screening a little bit right there, which is a good thing, you know?
But I mean, it's very easy because the Harrington has updated their form, and I heard it's a lot easier than the original one. But if you can order something on Amazon or you can do online banking, you can sign up on this form.
I agree, and that goes to what Andy, you know, I mean, why do I mean, we should be using our resources, to your point, Roland, but do we have to?
No, if he can send the link, I am 110% against the manpower, the hours. I just don't want to lose those.
Right, that would be a shame.
Yes. Yes, I'm fully for giving them the link and let them do it by themselves. Because you have to have an email, and that was the challenge with a lot of the seniors. They didn't have email. So there's a generic email that the town was using to help them out. We all here have emails, so we could do it ourselves, and we get everything, the confirmation and everything by email.
So Andy, I don't know exactly what you're looking for from us, but you know.
I think I get a feel for what the board is willing to let me do here.
Yeah, help if you can, but.
And my intention, I mean, we've tapped people in the clerk's office to help us out with this. They're committing 10 hours a week to helping us,
Right.
and their work has fallen by the wayside. I can't keep doing that. I can't take it back into my office because we are literally minute by minute here. But I think somebody calls them, it takes me 35 to 40 seconds to send an email out to them. So I attach the email, I make the email, the link available to Maritza, I make it available to, we have another employee, Carla. And between the three of us, calls come in, we can get the emails out. Probably, if we get 60 slots, we're committing 30 minutes of email, of writing up emails. Better than 10 hours.
Right.
And the other thing, if I may, Andy.
Yep.
I don't want to speak for Pat because if she disagrees with me, she'll beat me with a stick. But if the town hall is going to open on the 22nd, these people have to get back to business on their duties of serving the public. And I think that we can come up with some kind of a system that if they are unable to do this on their own. Perhaps Pat will take that load because there's nothing going on at the senior center but for her thing, but the vaccine clinic and Meals on Wheels. So I think the amount of people that will need some TLC and handholding is going to dramatically decrease. So if you can send them an email with the link, we keep our slots. If we still have some people that have troubles, maybe we can just give them the phone number and have Pat take care of it, because the town hall is going to get busier with customers coming in.
Either Pat, we'll find resources for the 3 to 5 that can't do it. You know, out of 60 people, I guarantee under 65, I guarantee out of 60 slots, 55 people will have the ability to do it.
And I
We'll
can
find
touch base-
resources to handle the others.
I can touch base with her Monday. She's off tomorrow and confirm it as one of the options.
Yep. All right, that works for me.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Anything else from Nicole or Tony?
No,
All
No,
right. If we're good with that update, you good with the update, Andy?
I am. I'm done.
Well, okay. Agenda 5B, food program for municipalities.
We left this on the agenda to see if Miss Nicole, at the last meeting, Miss Nicole had been graciously assigned, actually graciously assumed.
what, did she leave for a minute and
whether
get
it's if there's any
volunteered?
value for the town of Southbridge.
She
So
did.
I do not even know if Miss Nicole has updates, but I'm opening it up if she does. I know it's kind of a hard thing to find the details on these things.
yeah, no, I mean, I basically don't, only because the last time we spoke, we were talking about if anybody reaches out, say they call the Board of Health and asking, that you'll refer them to me. So I didn't get any calls. But,
Okay.
you know, just want to put out there that, you know, there was a family, you know, on my own that I identified, and I actually directed them. But other than that, I didn't get any calls, you know, from your office pretty much. So that was it.
Understand the CTC, who this town incorporates, the community tracing group, they have an assistance program within their group. So they do reach out as part of their tracking. They say, you know, you're going to need assistance with this, that, or the other thing. You're going to need assistance to get medication. You're going to need assistance for food. So they do, everybody that they track, they ask these questions, and they do a lot
Oh.
of that. The state has taken a lot of that on. I have since found that out. So
Okay,
that has probably taken a lot of heat off us.
yeah.
All right. Nicole, if you're all set, I want to go back into it for one thing I forgot to mention.
Yep, go ahead.
I'm going to say rumor. I'm hearing it from everywhere that CTC, I haven't got it concrete yet. CTC is going to be termed in June. I'm hearing it from everywhere.
It's what you cut off. Can you say that last part?
It's going to be termed. They're going to stop doing it. Number of cases in Massachusetts are going down. They're talking about stopping it. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm hearing it's going to happen, and we need to start setting up a plan, because if they stop CTC, I guarantee they are not going to stop contract tracing. So we need to at least be ready, and obviously it's only March. If it's going to happen in June, I'm sure I'll know concrete before then, and we'll be able to really do some solid planning. But we got to start thinking of replacing this program if it goes away. I was doing it with Roland and Beth, and we weren't keeping up. It takes, to do it right, it takes 45 minutes per case. You get 10 cases a day.
Yeah. Not when
We
there
can't
was
do it in-
20 a day. No. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't, I don't think we can pick it up in-house unless we drop down to 1 or 2 a day. So I just want to put it out there to start thinking about how we want to address it if it happens. We need to be ready for it if it happens. So I'll probably be leaning on it a little more at the next meeting, but I want to introduce it at this meeting so that the board members can start dwelling on it and trying to think of what our venues are, or our avenues are.
Okay, let's make sure that we keep this under, for the next agenda, under old business, and that we can, since we brought it up today, We'll
Yeah.
have new numbers because we're gonna meet in a month. Hopefully, nothing happens that we have to meet sooner. But we'll have a lot more data and we'll be able to get some idea of what their thoughts are, what CDC's, DPH's
Yep.
thoughts are, and everything else.
Okay. All right.
Are you good?
Just I promise, that's all I have.
Okay. Nicole, you're good on that too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Agenda 6, new business, Part A, recycling dividends program grant.
Okay, this is a, we're actually going back and forth. Is this new business or old business? It's an old grant, but
Yeah.
we get yearly, but it's a new grant for this year. So, the RDP grant is a grant we get for doing the things that we already do. So it's a no-brainer grant, go for it because we're doing the stuff, let's earn it. This is the things that, we have a recycling enforcement program, we get a point. We have a regulation regarding solid waste and limiting the amount, we get a point. We run a lending program at the library of unorthodox products, we get a point. Each point is worth $1,100. We get $11,000 a year. We've run it through the council. We've mentioned it with this board several times. We run it through the council. They've accepted it for this year. So we have $11,000. I just want the board to know that we are continuing the program, using the monies to support those items that are already getting us monies, and using any extra monies to try to identify things that will get us more points and therefore more money. So like some of the things we're doing this year is we are looking at doing a tire recycle program, basically a tire recall program for the town of Southbridge, an electronics take back program. Hopefully Anna's working on that and hopefully we'll have something up for the end of the year. We're working with Karen and the council. It's been to subcommittee and been referred to the general gov to do a revolving fund so that any money we bring in at these events, we can use for future events, for disposal of the products we collect, things like that. And I will get with Yvonne and bring that up again. It was referred to general gov, but it hasn't been put before him yet. So we'll go in that direction with that. But Anna continues to administer this grant and to grow on it. I know last year we only had 7,700. We had 7 points, so we get 7,700. This year we got 1,100. We're trying to identify things that will get us more points. To that end, well, not to that end, if the council votes in support of a residential drop-off transfer station, that is going to open up a lot of opportunity to get more points. Mattress take back type stuff, hazardous waste. We already get it for hazardous waste, but we're going to lose it when Casella goes away. So hazardous waste day. There's just a lot of events that we can hold at a municipal center that will equal points for the town. So I just wanted to bring it up to the board that we are still tending this grant, that we are in contact with the council whenever this grant is due and whenever we receive this grant, just to keep them up to date on what we're doing with it. And they have to accept grants in the town of Southbridge. So we run it through every year. So I just wanted to let the board know that is still up and running. We're actually at Margaret's request, at the librarian's request, we're buying 4 sets of snowshoes this year because she has had people ask she has a library of strange items and they've asked for them. So we're going to supply her with snowshoes this year, thus expanding her program and keeping our point alive. So that's just one of the cute things I thought that the town could benefit. Like that plan.
Sounds good, Andy. Putting it back in.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree. It's a no-brainer. Let's bring the money to Southbridge instead of East of 128. And it can only help in a couple, 3 years when we have to go out to bid or whatever the council decides, if we're doing a good job on the recycling program.
Yeah, I can only think that will help the next grant. I mean, the next contract, whatever the council votes to put in
Right.
place to replace the current contract. Right, if there's no further on that one, I'll move to B, mental health crisis. This is something that Miss Nicole had asked at the last meeting be put on, so I'm gonna defer to Nicole.
Okay. Yeah, as I mentioned before, as we pretty much all know that we're in a mental health crisis. I mean, I know it's been talked about all over, but and especially as I mentioned before, especially I'm referring more to the kids, the teens, and especially with the Zoom and everything, they're all disconnected. And as I mentioned before, also it's taking forever for people to even get appointments, and the 211 to call backs. There's a lag, and they're really under a crunch. And I feel at this point, I think we could really benefit from pretty much creating a committee to basically identifying the kids that are actually, in need, whether we're trying to really alleviate the loneliness, the connection, the belonging. And I think the best, oh, I'm just hearing my own, I think the best route to do that is actually, I would really like to actually extend an invitation to, certain, teachers and, other, other, leaders in other programs. Say, for instance, what would be great, I made a little list here about maybe if we could have someone, invite someone from the cops and kids, someone from, the YMCA staff, a few teachers from each school. If we can collaborate and communicate that, what better staff than a teacher to really identify, a kid in need, or, hey, I think this person could benefit from that, or they just, really, lonely, or, they got so-and-so going on. They know their stories. They know them personally. And I think that's what we really need, is to catch the kids who are kind of falling through the cracks. I mean, we have other programs in town, but all those things pretty much you have to sign up for. You have to apply. You have to schedule. And we all know, teens in trouble, kids in trouble, you have to meet them where they're at. They're not going to, even if they're in need, they're not going to seek out. They're not going to do that. And, even a lot of parents, in the situations that they're at. So I feel that, if we, again, it's more of like a community effort, and it's more of a collaboration. It's more of, I think if, each of us get together, and, identify these kids, and actually from there, we can actually just, maybe create some recreational opportunities, and go from there. I think it really is about communication and connection, and it's on the lower level.
You really wrote that down.
If I'm gonna say it. Nicole, there is a group that meets in town. They're called the Community Health Network Association.
Yes.
It's a statewide thing. Let me reach out to it. We fall under the Chenal 5. They're all across the state. We fall under Chenal 5. Let me reach out to them and see if this is something that they would take up.
Oh, I'm a part of that. I'm actually a part of that, Andy. I'm a part of that already.
Okay.
I'm a part of that.
I thought they would be a good group to launch this through.
Oh, no. What I'm saying is, I think we want to do this more like on a local scale with this. You know what I mean? I think it's just a matter of simply identifying the kids that are needing help with this. And I think, the key factor at this point is mainly the teachers, but also I would like to reach out with, someone from the cops and kids, someone from the YMCA. That's more, these entities, they have a lot of contact, with a lot of kids in our communities, and especially with the COVID, the cops and kids, they couldn't do half the things or most of them.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't do what they normally do. They've been cut off with that. And they know those kids, and the teachers know those kids. So this is more of like a local connect. I think it's just more of identifying, and it's more of, it's not a matter of even recreating the wheel. It's a matter of just, again, identifying the kids, connecting our resources, seeing, what's going on, and connecting from there. But it's just the kids themselves, in the actual classrooms, in the actual, whoever they come across. Those are the kids that are falling through the cracks, not that are, typically already in programs, or it's again, like the cops and kids, it's been how long since anything, has been active with that, and they've just kind of slipped through.
Okay.
Nicole, I thought of you, and something at the clinic when I read this rang a bell, because
Yep.
a lot of those things, because of the COVID, they can't get together.
Right.
Schools are coming back on, and a lot of these good school groups don't have access. And down at the clinic, we've had nursing students from Quincy, Bay Path, and believe it or not, I was very impressive, Springfield Tech. Gee, they've got a mass clinic in Springfield, but we've got nursing students that's come here. Thank you. They're getting their practical skills because everything has been so difficult because of COVID.
Right.
My thoughts, because I know you're involved in it, how about some of, if we had some of these children's, some of these peers of these children, like seniors. I remember when my
Right.
daughter was going to school, National Honor Society, all this other stuff. How much can they do for college credits or scholarships now? Because COVID has really put the whole world in a turmoil. And I'm wondering if it was something through the National Honor Society or something, if somebody wanted to go into public service, fire, police, EMS, nursing, something like that. The scholarships are still going to be out there, but this is a public service thing that maybe if they're a
Right.
peer group, and a student talking to a student, it's a lot
Exactly.
of student talking.
And that's another part of that. That's what I had mentioned before about the mentoring. But I think at this point in time, it's a matter of identifying, finding them first. You know what I mean? And bringing that in and going from there. But I agree with you. It's like the mentoring is another piece to that. Definitely.
Maybe we can, I'm not sure who's doing what, but maybe we can contact Nurse Checker to give us some names on who's doing these things and get some ideas. I mean,
Well,
they
my
have
thoughts, right, but my thoughts with that is, I've been kind of asking around already, and even, kids and friends of kids, and, just asking, hey, who's your favorite teacher? And, just finding out, who the kids naturally gravitate to, who's the favorite teacher, who's the favorite staff at the YMCA, who's the go-to person, of cops and kids. I think, if we work with that, those are the people that the kids are going to go to. Those are the people that, they more than likely know, you know what I mean? Who are the ones that need the help? Who are the ones who need to connect? I think the bigger factor right now is the loneliness factor. You know what I mean? It really is. And I think from then, you know what I mean? They end up mentoring, you know what I mean? Going from that point. But I think it's just identifying at this point. And again, connecting that and, then going to the mentoring, towards that end of that with, like I mentioned before, like how Trinity does it, where they connect an 8th grader, with a kindergartner, and they kind of follow them through the year. And that's a great thing. I think it empowers and, empowers, the older kid thinking, oh, great, like I'm really helping, and the younger kid is someone to look up to, and I think that piece of that can absolutely be a part in the school. But I think it's just finding them at this point,
Yeah, no, that was
I think
my
that's
only point of saying it, that we need somebody from each of the schools
Yes.
that will help to analyze, and we've got the other challenge of the totally remote children. So somebody's got to be being able to, for lack of a better term, sit in the background when the teacher's teaching remotely, to also gather information of, I think, exactly what you said. If these children are being totally remote and not hybrid,
Right.
I think that's even
Right.
worse. Because I know
Right.
when I teach virtual, I don't like it at all. But these kids that are completely 100% remote, they're
Right.
not interacting with their peers. They're not interacting with their
No.
classmates. They're seeing their
Right.
teachers like we're seeing each other now. and it is
Right.
lousy. And that was my
I
only
think
thing.
that's the main thing, yeah.
Yeah, somebody
It's
identified.
It's isolating. I think that's the major, I think you hit it. It's the isolating factor.
Yes, and they need to get back to some form of normalcy. But my only point was to maybe gather some information, or who can be, for lack of a better term, the hunters for us in each of the schools. And then,
I have a couple names. I actually have a couple names already, but
okay.
that's, go ahead, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I mean, if you have names already, you've been working on it, and I know this is
I
in
do.
your wheelhouse.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I have a couple names already, and I'm waiting for a couple people to get back to me as well. But I think that's the way to go, is to just, again, find out, how do you find that out? You find out, you see who the kids gravitate to. You hear about, them talking about that particular teacher or that particular staff. I have connections at the Y, I have connections, within that, and you hear those names. You know what I mean? I've asked kids. You know what I mean? And I keep hearing those same names 4 or 5 times. You know what I mean? So that would be ideal.
No, I agree.
Hey, Nicole.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. So it almost sounds like you're trying to solicit mentors to help these children. So is there going to be some type of I'm just wondering if it's just a shoulder to lean on, and just to let them know they're not alone, but how equipped are these mentors going to be to assist and appropriately respond to the situation?
You talking about the mentors, like the other kids mentors? Or are you talking about like, okay, right. I think at this point in time, and I think it's a process at this point in time, it's identifying the kids in need, and it's also identifying kids that other teachers and staff feel like, wow, you know what, you can tell they're a leader, they're charismatic. I think that would be a great person, to groom as a mentor. That's another identifying factor there. You know what I mean? Like going from there. And as I mentioned, another reason why I'd like to just kind of, invite out, someone from Cops and Kids, someone from, each of the schools, is because we're already they're already Corey checked. You know what I mean? That's another factor. So that would take care of that right there. This is more of just collaboration. It's more of communicating and collaborating. It's not remaking the wheel. I think it should be very basic at this point. It really is about finding and identifying, like the ones that could be great mentors and the ones that are the ones in need, or even can be pointed in direction. And I think it's it's kind of like it takes a village kind of a theory,
Right. So you're just suggesting right now that we're just identifying those people who we think would
At this
either
point, yes.
benefit from assistance or be able to, and then we'll worry about everything else after that point. And I don't mean to minimize that.
I think it's going to grow. Honestly, if that, I can see that growing from there. But I think it's just because the identifying will take a little time, and that's why that's the number one thing, is identifying first, and then at that point definitely matching up. Like who would be like a great mentor, and who would be the one who who could need some support, and the people that would make the best judgment of that are, again, the teacher, the staff, the ones who see those kids all the time, the ones who are identifying them.
And you would hope that these individuals who are doing all the identifying would be, because my only thing is, so where does this mentor go when the issue gets a little complicated? So I would imagine you'd have a hierarchy kind of.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and again, that's why there's kind of two entities really you're talking about. It's like the kids, and you're talking about the staff, the teachers, the Cops and Kids, the staff member at the Y, even myself, like absolutely, like there has to be guidance with that. That's not just, okay, kids, here you go. This is.
No.
Go ahead.
And so the program that Andy had mentioned to begin with, It sounds like that doesn't quite meet the needs of what you're trying to accomplish right now.
Well, to some degree it can. I think they overlap because, I mean, there are definitely contacts within that sphere that absolutely, you know, and I'm going to be reaching out to them, absolutely, but not as a whole, you know what I mean? It's more on the local level, I guess, is what I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah,
That's how I see
get
it.
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Hey, it's a good cause. It's a great cause. It's good for you.
And also one of the other people that I would love to extend the invitation for that is at Trinity, because again, they do that mentoring, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I think it's a collaboration, and that's another reason. So there's quite a few entities, even the library, there's quite a few entities I have on my list that I was thinking of that that would cover all bases. That's what I'm looking to do, is cover all bases, you know, finding the kids that will fall through the cracks, you know?
And the other thing, Nicole, possibly to reach out is the churches. You know, the Spanish churches are very, very, very active.
Oh, yes.
And
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. You know, and at this point, it's not about an advertising thing. It really is a matter of reaching out and connecting and finding that, you know, and again, you know, I'd be connecting with other teachers, which honestly, these particular teachers I already have in mind, they're the types that overextend themselves and volunteer automatically. I don't want to make an assumption, but again, I'd like to extend an invitation, talk with them, see if they'd be interested, and go from there. But I would really love, ideally, if, you know, we could have, you know, representation from all those different, you know, entities. I mean, that would cover. And I think that's what we need to do.
I think it's a great start, for sure. That's going to help the light at the end of the tunnel get brighter.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, it'll bring the community together, in my opinion. I think it's a matter of, you know, when a kid can see, and that's another reason why, you know, you really want to get those staff and those teachers that already are in it, you know what I mean? Because those kids know, they can tell when someone's genuine, they're doing it they're not doing it for a paid job, they're doing it because, you know, they care, and they can sense that, and you're going to get that response, you know?
So what do you need from us?
I just need your backing, actually, to be honest with you, at this point. I don't think there's not a lot to do other than me extending the invitations out, you know what I mean, to these other teachers and staff members to see if they'd be willing.
I'm going to speak for myself that you've got my full support. I wish there was more hours in the day that I could help you, but I am up to my earlobes with the EDS site. But I will tell you, if you have any kind of an experience, half of what I've had down there, with the reverse, it's the senior people that look at all of the volunteers and are so appreciative.
Yeah.
You know, when you got a 101-year-old gentleman that's a military veteran and he thanks somebody like me for being down there to do what we do.
Wow.
No.
That's great.
Don't thank
Wow.
me. You know, we can't thank
Wow.
them enough. That's happened.
That's great.
It's
That's great.
you got my support for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Let us know. Keep us updated.
I will.
So we're all set.
Thank you.
We're all set with that, Nicole?
I think so. Tony, do I have your support?
Tony nodded his head, but he was on
do.
mute.
Of course you do.
Okay. All right, thanks. So I will reach out and extend an invite, and I'll keep you guys updated, and we'll go from there. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Agenda number 7. There you go, Andy. Fill us in. Make us
All right.
happy. Make us proud.
We put 718 Main Street on this list. Last meeting, I reported on 718 Main Street that we were done with it, that it was being reoccupied, so there's really not much of an update. We are looking at it for zoning reasons because it is being used as a sober house. So on the zoning side of the department, we're looking at it for numbers of people to see. Sober houses fall under same thing as like rehab facilities and group homes. And to a point, you cannot regulate them at all. However, there is a line at occupancy, and I think the occupancy line is 16, where it becomes an institution rather than a group home. So we're looking at that law to see if there's any further regulation that needs to be put on that. But as far as Board of Health is concerned, I have cleared it for reoccupancy. It's being reoccupied. Any further action is going to be taken on the building side, the zoning side. I'd like to throw 318 Main Street into this. This is an ongoing issue. As soon as he straightened out 718 Main Street, I told him I expect him to move right onto 318 Main. This is the one where we have a young lady living in she was actually moved out of 718 into a similar housing type situation, meaning renting out by the room, but her room does not have an exterior window. So I've spoken with the owner, and he has indicated to me that he will be pulling a permit this week to cut that window. Obviously it's Thursday, so I will be on his case tomorrow to find out where that permit is. But we're moving on that one, and I will stay on that case as much as I stayed on this one. I will bring it back to the Board of Health if I feel we have to take action. A window is required under both the health code and the building code. Next one I have on the list is Idlewood Street, but I would like to take 495 South Street first. 495 South Street is a vacant house that we've had a couple of trees fall on it. Chunks of the roof are missing. Because of that, water's been pouring in there for years. Mike, my building inspector, seems to be of the opinion that it's a dangerous structure, and he is watching it deteriorate even more. So we have issued several orders on this one to remove it or repair it. He has refused to do either and refused to respond to us. So we just sent an order to remove it, and we are currently preparing court papers for this one. The reason I wanted to put this one before Idlewood is because we are preparing court papers on this one, and this is going to be our foray back into the court system. We're working with Rob Caprera on this to figure out how to file. Everything is going to be kind of backwards with the filing. It used to be easy. We would file a case and we would dictate the date we wanted that case heard. Well, because the courts are all virtual right now, we will be filing this case and waiting for the courts to decide when. So we're going to use this case as our example case to get cases into court. And with this particular one, we are looking to have 495 demolished. We determined that it's an unsafe building. We're going to ask the courts to order it demolished. And if we don't get satisfaction out of that, we're going to ask the court to order us to demolish it, and we'll lien the property. It's I don't think the town is going to get the value back from it, but it is a nice rural district in town, and it's not dead downtown, so the value of the land is going to be something. So we will, if he doesn't do it, we will end up doing it, and we'll lien the property. And when we end up owning it, we'll hopefully get some of it back through the auction process. Having said that, onto Idlewood. This one is a piece of property that our new inspector and I have been out to several times. Before this, Mike and I have been out to several times, and we have given her goals. If you remember right, the last time I spoke to you, I asked her if she would accept elder services, and I told her that I wanted some progress. She said she would have a dumpster there by this week, and as of last week, our new inspector and I visited the property, and there was no dumpster there. So as soon as we get through this first test case for court, I have ordered her to let me in. So as soon as we get through this first test case and make sure we're comfortable with filing cases again, we will file a case against her to mandating she let us in. So that's where we are. We're out there at least once a week talking to her, and she comes out and talks to us. She just won't let us in. So I have an order to let us in. once we are successful with 495 filing, we will go on to file some of the others, and this is one of them. So it hasn't been put off, but it's on a second burner until we're confident on how to file the cases.
And Andy, when she's come out and talked to you,
Yep.
how was your assessment as far as physical and mental health?
The woman seems competent. I
Okay,
look in, as she comes out, I look in the door and I can see filth. I don't see so much clutter as much as filth. She has assured me the heating system works into place, which was your concern, Roland.
yeah,
But there's definitely filth, and I'm not sure if it's the best. I'm confident it's not the best environment for her. But if we have to push this to the end, we're also going to get the dog officer involved, because the dogs are what is contributing to the filth there.
but I mean, did she look
Competent.
sickly? Did she look malnourished? Did she look, that's what I meant by it.
She does not. She looks,
Okay.
if I present her to a court for any type of, I don't want to use the word committing, but any type of internment, the court's going to look at her and say she's a sane person. She presents sane. She's,
And I didn't mean that. I meant that she's washing, she's eating, she's not sick. I mean, a dirty house is a dirty house, but I want to make sure that the dirty house is not making her sick.
Yeah, that would require, that'd require a pretty intense evaluation to really determine that. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
The house-
It was
the house is going to
nothing.
make her sick.
Okay,
If we don't get in and do something, the house will make her sick.
yes.
So
I agree.
we're gonna continue to pursue this as long as we
Yeah.
are confident we have a venue to pursue this. If I do get it into court, I will ask for access to the property. To the building. Once I assess the building, I will bring it back to court and ask the court to mandate assistance through elder services, tenancy preservation, something. I don't think it's something that in the end she has to be removed from the house, although I haven't seen inside yet. She just is gonna need assistance to get it to where it should be. So if we can get with, there's some rehab companies out there or rehab assistants that'll help her fix the outside of the house. I don't know what the town will have to invest in improving this. Obviously, any investment becomes a demand and a lien. And we may have to give some assistance if we want to get this to the status we wanted at. My concern is with these cases, you get them to the status you want them at, 6 months later, they go back to where they are, depending on what drove it to that condition in the first place. So step one is going to be to see if we can give this woman what assistance she needs to get it cleaned up. All right. Next one on the list is the Vienna. Miss Beth asked me specifically to find the status of this thing, find out what's going on with this thing. So we've had several conversations with Trey. He's the owner. He has put in an application for a permit. Unfortunately, he owes back debt to the town, so we can't issue that permit. Having said that, he's got 30 days because from the time we get a permit until we approve it, it's supposed to be 30 days. At that point, we'll disapprove it. We have returned him that he has to settle with the town in order to get the permit. So we're just right now sitting and waiting to see if he'll settle up with the town. If he does, we'll issue the permit. And we will prioritize with him what we want done. Cleaning the property and putting in windows will be priority 1 and 2. How long he takes with the inside is between him and the building department. But obviously, this is a huge, I won't call it a gateway to the city because it's not at any entrance to the city. But when you drive up Main Street, this is what you see. So this is kind of the cornerstone of the town. This one and the corner of Central Street, I would say.
Yeah, it stands out. Yeah, it stands out. Yeah.
So we are working with that. I have made it known that if he doesn't do something with it, the town is gonna. And if that means we step in and order the removal of the building, because I'd rather have no building than a blighted building, then we'll go that route if the board wants to push that way.
Okay, on these 5 items, Nicole, comments, thoughts, anything?
Do you want to talk about 215 Hamilton? And I have one other.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Missed that one. You caught me.
215 Hamilton, we have a new inspector who I will introduce to the board in, under my announcements. I will drag her from the other office kicking and screaming and put her before the camera. This is one that I am introducing her to the field on. She has sent an order to the bank, who is the current owner. We are, basically, it's a second notice saying that before you own this thing, you were notified of this because you were a financial interest, and we sent a copy of the order to you. And now you're the owner, so you're responsible. We're ordering him to remove it. This is the property that we put into receivership. The courts approved the receivership on it. And we ran, I believe, 4 to 5 receivers through it. And none of them wanted it because the value wasn't there to put the money into it, and then they couldn't get their value back from it. So none of the receivers want it. So we are going to push this one again after we figure out how to file with the court right now. But we will push this one through the court systems, ordering the bank, who is now the owner, to tear the thing down. They obviously can counter and ask the court for time to repair it, and I'm sure the court will offer that. I don't care if the court offers that. All I care is either the building goes away or the building gets repaired and gets off our blight list. But it's a vacant building, gorgeous architecture. I'd love to save it, but if it can't be fixed for any true value, we'll tear it down. The last one I brought before the council, there was some concern that we were tearing down buildings. The last one I took before the council, I believe, was 80 Hamilton. And there was some concern expressed that we should try to get these things rehabbed rather than just go at them and tear them down with town money. But I think by chasing a receiver through this one, 5 receivers, and none of them saying it's worth it, I think we could possibly be justified to go to the council and say, we want you to support the contract, because obviously any contract needs council support. But we have proven that there's no value in saving this one because we've sent 5 licensed contractors through it and they saw no value. So we're moving that one towards demolition again, once we get used to the court system in the new world. Last one I have for you is one I just wrote in, is Thomas Street. 2 pieces of property on Thomas Street. What number is that? 30 Thomas, 36 Thomas? 36 Thomas Street is a little single family home, 1 bedroom, single story on a postage stamp piece of property. I have been purposefully, I'm not going to say ignoring because I make regular visits to it, but I've been purposefully holding this one because the town is very close to taking it. And even though it's a tiny house with only 1 bedroom, I think somebody is going to bid on this thing. They're going to take it for less than is owed on it, and they'll rehab it, and they'll probably grab it for $5,000 or $10,000 and put 35 into it. And for less than 50,000, they're going to have a nice little place for a single person to live. So I wanted to wait and see what that route brought us before I brought any action that would incur taxpayer dollars in order to address the problem. The problem is that property and the one next to it have become a dumping ground. And the owner of Thomas Street swears she doesn't own it because she got a letter from the bank that says it's called a complaint of foreclosure. And the bank issues these complaints of foreclosure, and they're worded in such a way that when you receive this thing, you think the bank has foreclosed on you, but they haven't. They don't have ownership yet. But you walk away from it thinking, I don't have ownership yet. So essentially, I got an owner who's denying ownership and a bank who's denying ownership. I have an open building and it's trashed. So I think I'm going to end up, we put orders on the owner, we copied the bank. This is one we're going to end up putting money into to have the property cleaned, take down some vegetation so it doesn't trap litter anymore, and board and secure this one. We sent the order out on this one today, the first order. It's about a 4-order system, so it'll take 4 to 5 weeks to get this done. But we'll probably end up putting somebody on it to board it, secure it, and clean up the property. The vacant property right next to it is kind of the same issue, and we'll just combine the 2 when we do the cleanup. And that is my 6 that I have to report on. 7 that I have to report on.
Andy, can I just ask, regarding the Vienna, what are the options with the Vienna again?
The Vienna, we're gonna wait the full 30 days. The owner has put in an application to renovate the Vienna. He's gonna put, I believe, 5 or 6 apartments in it. Some efficiency, some 2 bedrooms. He owes money to the town. He owes debt to the town. So under our law, we adopted a state law that says that if you owe monies to the town, you can't pull a permit for anything that's not a health emergency. Well, this thing's ugly, but it's not a health emergency. So we're gonna give him the 30 days. Towards the end of the 30 days, we're gonna notify him that if he doesn't pull action on this thing, the town is gonna start a process of ordering it removed. So that's the route we're going. There's other buildings in town that I don't want to readily take on because it's a huge burden to take one of these on.
Right.
And I'll overload the department. I think these are the 6 criticals. So these are the ones we're attacking right now. There are definitely some others in town that are just nasty, but these are the criticals. So we'll go after
Okay.
these, and that's what with that we'll move on.
All right, thank you.
Tony, anything?
Nope, nothing, Rowan.
Andy, you piqued my interest on 318 Main. Did
Yeah.
you say that he had somebody, was there a resident in that room that he was renting to that upon your inspection, you noticed that they did not even have a window which complies with minimum living? Was there an occupant of that space?
There was an occupant of that space. That's why I'm gonna get on his case tomorrow, because he said he was gonna have a permit this week. I'm gonna tell him if he doesn't have a permit next week, I'm putting it before the board to unoccupy that particular space. The other one's fine, but that one room cannot be occupied, in my opinion. So I'm gonna give him the chance to cut in a window. He says he's gonna do it, but I'm gonna get on his case tomorrow.
Okay, that was one thing because this board and me in particularly bent over backwards on 718 Main to give him the benefit of the doubt. He laughed in our face. This owner is, I consider it for the Board of Health, a problem child. And we all know when you have a problem child, you can't take your eyes off of him or her for 1 second. He knows better. He is not a novice to the landlord trade. Having someone live in a closet, to me, is abuse. And he should have known better. And I don't want to give him any leeway whatsoever, number one. My other issue is Vienna. I am 110% against giving him 30 days. I understand 30 days for a permit. I went by there today and I happened to look, and a couple of things happened this last couple of weeks that really piqued my interest. Number one, I saw some DPW guys, and the Vienna was brought up. And I did not realize that due to public safety, because he wasn't doing anything, DPW cleaned that sidewalk of snow because the town was getting complaints that he didn't get off his duff and go down there and plow that sidewalk. So I was very upset that this owner, who is a contractor, who is not 90 years old and can't get out of a wheelchair, allowed the taxpayers to clean his sidewalk. I was furious. Then the other day when I went by, because I have a neighbor of mine who is not the cleanest yard, and you know that, Andy.
Yep.
The last windstorm, I had building debris bouncing off my house from his yard. I looked at that Vienna. There are shards of glass still in those window frames from when the fire department broke it. The boarding up was done by volunteers on the original, from the original owners, from the inside. We have had many windy days. Let me tell you, I consider that a drastic health hazard with the unsecured glass hanging there in a windstorm and somebody walking down the street or even somebody trespassing. And it's a tight-knit neighborhood, and if you're walking up the driveway of the house behind it and a shard of glass comes down and cuts your jugular vein, you're a dead guy. That is unacceptable. He should know better. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he needs a permit to get off his recliner, clean out the windows, and board them up properly. Am I correct on that?
He'll need the permit to board a window, but he doesn't need a permit to clear it of glass.
My thing, I would like to see an order given that it's going to be a nice weekend, that he is notified that by Monday, there should not be any loose glass seen on that building. This is,
Okay.
to me, when I saw that, I just thought of nightmares, and it's been there since the fire, and shame on him, shame on us. It's disgusting. And if he needs a slap upside the head, like if you ever watched NCIS, the Gibbs slap, then he needs to get it, because it's been long enough, and that is disgusting to let a piece of property you own have that kind of hazard attached to it.
Okay, I will call him tomorrow. I will
Okay.
issue a written order on him tomorrow, but I will follow it up with a call tomorrow. That the glass got to be cleaned out by Monday, or I'm going to start issuing tickets. Mike has all of his contact information, so I'll give him a call tomorrow. It shouldn't take any effort to get a ladder and just clear the glass. So,
Pull the plywood off from the inside and then take it out and pick it up. He doesn't even need a ladder. It's all inside plywood.
yep,
So,
all right. Yeah,
thank
I will
you.
discuss with him tomorrow.
Now, so we can shut our cameras off and scare the heck out of her. You're going to introduce us to your new employee?
I can do that. Can you get Miss Emily?
I know I missed you the other day at the clinic. Oh, you got to leave the room so she can take her mask off so we can see what she looks like.
I haven't even seen what she looks like yet. What are you talking about? That mask has never left her face. So, if I may, members of my Board of Health, we have Mr. Anthony Postali, Miss Nicole Duffy, and Mr. Roland LaRochelle.
Hello.
Here is Miss Beth Stevens. This is Emily Quinn. Emily comes with a degree from UMass. She has extensive regulatory, I won't say regulatory, but I will say compliance in the food industry. She has worked in the leisure industry for Disney World. Very impressed by that, because I know the Board of Health agent for Orlando, and he knows what is expected at Disney World of their employees. So that alone tells me that I have a solid employee here. Been with us a week and a half. Very impressed with what I've seen so far. I pretty much dumped everything I can possibly dump on her, and she knows when to come and say, Andy, what the heck did you mean by this? So I think we got a winner here. I think we have an upgrade. So Emily, Board of Health, Miss Emily.
Welcome
Welcome,
aboard.
Emily.
Sorry I missed you the other day at the clinic.
That's okay. I know. We did a quick run through. It looked great. Everything was smooth. I was impressed. So that's awesome.
All right. Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Have a good night.
Welcome aboard.
Have a good night. Bye.
When did you take her down, Andy?
Tuesday maybe?
Oh, okay.
I don't remember what day it was. I'd have to check my calendar. I haven't written in my
Well,
calendar.
it was the new setup for Tony and Nicole. Last Saturday, the gym was completely stripped, except for the
It was the
registration.
old setup. It must have been last week one day too. It was
It
the
was
old
all
setup.
clean. So it was
Must-
all reorganized, so it's a whole different setup that's working very well.
Yeah, I want to make it a point to get down there tomorrow anyhow, just to see the new
Oh,
setup.
that's great.
I'll be there later, noontime on. after I get done with the wife.
Yeah, I'll probably do it after work, after I do my COVID emails.
I'm not gonna be there at 8. Because he doesn't stop. Okay. I don't know on Pod B, the solid waste, if anybody had anything on that.
Okay, so I sent a set of revisions, or Maritza sent a set of revisions, or proposed
Yep.
revision. At the last meeting, we talked about some regulations that were, some amendments that were proposed. Roland had proposed some amendments. We discussed some of the things that were falling off that we felt were required, and I proposed that I would rewrite it, incorporating Roland's amendments, but also maintaining the things we thought should be maintained in there. I sent everybody a copy of that, clearly outlining what I added, what I struck. And really, I just want comments on that. If we're comfortable with it, I will create a clean copy, and we will set up a hearing to a hearing to adopt the amendments. And at the same time, we will insert in our fee schedule what we will charge for replacement containers, and we'll adopt both of them at the same time. So if the board is comfortable with the amendments as I wrote them, I will use this, I will advertise the hearing, and we can adopt them probably at our next meeting.
I have one comment, and it's just maybe the way I think.
Here we go. No,
No,
what do you got?
it's not. It's 5.3 under the containers.
5.3,
Yep.
waste containers, yep.
Yes, yeah. Hey, so it says waste containers to every residence up to 6 units. Is that
Yep.
up to and including, or that's the only comment that I have. I'm like, oh, does that mean
Yep.
up to 6? So it's up to and including?
Up to and including.
Okay, that was it for me.
I will add that in. I think
Nicole.
that clarifies it nice.
Yep.
Anything from you?
No?
I did look at it. And I did find a couple things, and it brought back to life that Lower Main Street thing. Under
Yep.
section 5, on the residential curbside, 511, it says not
Right.
exceeding 6 dwelling units.
511.
Yep.
Per
You're
property.
doing hard copy. You're doing it the hard way.
What?
Yeah, 511, it says not exceeding 6 dwelling units. Should we not add per parcel? Because
Yeah,
that
I
was.
will add, actually, even more precise, I will put not exceeding 6 dwelling units on a single parcel.
Okay, because the one that Tony just talked about.
Yep.
Did say per parcel.
Yep.
So that was a problem we had on the Lower Main Street thing.
Yep. I see under 5.3, I said waste twice, so we will,
Yes.
and 531 is out of order, so we will correct that.
There was something else to follow this. Where was it?
You teased me for doing it on hard copy, but my notes are permanent.
I think it was under. Oh, okay. 522.0.
522.0, yes.
Under containers. Every residential unit eligible for inclusion in a town of Southbridge curbside collection program shall be offered a town recycling container at no charge. Or if you wanted to do it a one-time offering of a container at no charge. I don't know how you want to term it.
One-time offering.
A one-time offering or a first recycling container.
Well, the only thing with that is my comment to you is that what if somebody decided, and we don't know what's gonna happen when we go out to bid. Let's say somebody decided to hand back the container and get a dumpster. And then something happened that they now wanted a container again.
A one time, I like one time. You're right.
Okay. And I
Yep.
think that will answer the part about replacement, and that will save a enormous amount of problems that we've been having. Because under the waste containers that I think the area that Tony was talking about, it's six units per parcel. So it's addressed there, so it's just a continuity.
Yep, all right.
And I think that was it, except some cleaning up and like a period on the 53117. Only one trash container shall be allowed, period.
53117.
That's right after all the things that you struck out that we described the containers, because we didn't need that.
Yep,
Otherwise, I thought that fits very well.
all right. I will clean this up. I will get the board a clean copy of this whole document. I will also supply this document to the council, specifically soliciting their comments. Obviously, we have the authority to adopt what the board wants to adopt, but we always reach out to the council specifically for their input. And we will also advertise it. And if we can pull it all together, get 2 advertisements in, we might be able to get it by our next meeting. If not, we'll be looking at May.
And we're going to include a update of the
Fee
fee
schedule.
schedule with this also, right?
Yep,
And I think you were saying which one, 60 for one, 50 for the other, or something like that?
that is the current price because we get them, we buy them for just under that right now. If the price changes the next time we order, we bring it back to the board and we change that fee. But it's
Okay.
based on what we pay for it.
Okay, perfect.
All right, let me work on cleaning that up. I will get it to the board, hopefully in short order, so you have time to review it before our next meeting.
Everybody else good with that?
That's good.
Okay.
Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, so the next one is agenda 8, which I'm going to skip because the chairman isn't here. Andy, you got anything on your announcements on the 9?
I do, you're gonna hate me. I got about 7 items here.
Okay,
So just-
moving on to number 10.
That
Oh,
works.
go ahead.
All right, actually 6 items. I already introduced Emily. She was in my list of things to do.
Okay,
Just to let the board know that we are kicking up the construction period for the landfill again. The construction season. What we hope to accomplish this season is the final capping of the top. So there've been 2 construction meetings already. Anna's been attending those. So we are looking forward to that being kicked up in very short order. We'll see activity at the landfill again, finishing the capping. I want to announce Household Hazardous Waste Day. Our March Household Hazardous Waste Day will be on March 27th from 9 to 1. It's held at the old residential drop-off right below the landfill on the top of Commercial Drive. Anybody who has any type of regulated wastes, such as pesticides, oil-based paints, any chemicals, things like that, they will be accepted at the Hazardous Waste Day on that date. Electronics and actually electronics for a fee, tires for a fee. Construction debris, because the landfill is closed, our permit was altered a little bit or wasn't altered, but part of the permit is no longer in effect. So construction debris will still be accepted, but it's going to have to be brought to Oxford. They have a permit to accept construction debris out there. So Hazardous Waste Day, you'll be able to bring your construction debris, but it's going to have to go to Oxford. All right. Related to the grant, we purchased some rain barrels. There was some interest in rain barrels. By supplying rain barrels, it gives us another point. So we have bought, I believe, 12 rain barrels. We are making them available to the public for $25. These are 55-gallon drums. They are food grade drums, so we don't have to worry about what's going to leach out of them and leach into our vegetables when we use it for irrigating our vegetables. So we have these for $25 and just taking every opportunity to make it known to the public. Come and get them, or give us a call. We will arrange for delivery upon receipt of a check. Compost bins. We have 20 compost bins arriving tomorrow. We already ran one set of compost bin through and they went away fast. So we decided to stay in the compost bin business. We got a bunch of them through the grant. Compost bins are also selling for $25 a piece. Same thing. Give us a call, give us a check, and we will get one delivered to you.
Nice.
And the last thing I have is for the Recycling IQ grant. This is a different grant we have. We did it 2 years ago. This was a grant that we used when we were starting to get rejected loads in our recycling. We hired some people to work curbside through the summer and basically flip open the lids, determine if there was enough quality recycling in there as opposed to trash. And we were actually rejecting recycling and tagging them on why we rejected them. We applied for this grant last year and we got it. But because COVID came in, we thought it a bad idea to enact this at the time because it meant putting two people at the curb together. And DEP was kind of frowning on it, but they did say, keep the grant, move it to next year, which is this year. So we got the grant this year. We are currently seeking to fill 4 positions. And I would like to take the opportunity to encourage anybody who's watching this meeting that wants to take on some part-time positions. It's approximately 3 to 4 hours a day for up to 3 days, every other week through the summer to monitor and observe our recycling program. Love people to get online at the Town of Southbridge webpage, and we're advertising the positions there. If we get the positions, then we're going to do the grant this year. Without the positions, we can't do it, and we'll refuse the grant. So we're hoping to revive this one and get our quality of recycling back down to where it belongs again. That is my announcements.
Andy, are we gonna lose Anna part-time now back to the landfill?
Anna has never not been at the landfill. Even through the non-construction period, Anna is reviewing test data. She's, right through the winter, she's been sending you reports after she has analyzed the report. That report reviewing it probably takes up a good 30% of her time. There's a lot to review in those reports and to shrink them down to something that even I can understand. So she has never been away from the landfill. We have been splitting her time between the landfill and the recycling. I am hoping and I'm very optimistic that we will keep her through this construction season and this coming year. The following year, we need to really look at it and see if the value to keep her as our recycling coordinator is there. After this construction year and 1 year of testing and reviewing, the work for the landfill is going to go way down. But I can put forth argument that the work she's doing as a recycle coordinator has been amazing. And if we lose her position, I don't have somebody to slide into that position and take up that work. So we lose her production.
Okay.
So we'll want to be lobbying the council to hold that position and keep that position alive.
Okay, very good. Anybody have anything for Andy in his report?
Nope.
No, I'm good, thanks.
Hey, board member announcement. Tony, anything?
Nothing.
Nicole?
Nope, I've said my piece.
You had your shot.
Okay, unfortunately, Roland has 2 small items. I don't know, I saw Hector going through the neighborhood this morning and I appreciate that. I don't know if he addressed 489 Dennison Drive. new owners. The house was for sale. And the only thing that kind of irritated me is that when people have multiple buckets, because I'm sure, like when you discussed that Worcester Street, Martin Street thing, that there were new people and they were unaware of the regulations. Casella is still picking up multiple buckets. So if Hector didn't see that, maybe these people would like to, we're working on these rules and regulations and just to inform them, but also to ring Casella's bell, because the gentleman that owns the property on the corner of Eastford Road and Dennison Drive that put up the garage that has a ton of cut trees piled up in a pile, every Thursday brings a black trash bag and puts it on the side of the road. And it gets picked up. I'm sorry, but that is not a residence.
Correct.
He can take whatever trash he creates at that site and bring it home to wherever he lives and follows it properly. But I am really getting a little bit annoyed of the people that are supposed to be working for this town, and they're not following the rules and regulations set forth, because it seems that, they were doing very well for a while, that bags on the ground were not picked up. Secondary containers were not picked up, and I think people got the hint. But I've seen it around town with bags on the ground, and I've seen it with these multiple containers, and it's all getting picked up again. So if it's allowed to keep going, it's going to grow, and we don't need that as taxpayers when we have to go out to bid in a couple of years. We need some control. But otherwise, as a whole, it's looking very nice out there.
So 489 Dennison Drive was multiple containers.
There was a secondary container. I'm not even going to complain how containers are full, as long as the stuff is in the container. I'm happy with that. But there was a secondary container there this morning. And it seems that when you see secondary containers, after Casella goes by, those secondary containers are empty, and they're not supposed to be doing that. And when they pick it up, people who do not know the regulations do not question it. So the process continues and creates a hardship, and we have to talk about it for absolutely no reason.
Okay, I will call Casella tomorrow and talk about uncontained bags, and I will have Hector touch base with the new residents at 489 and let them know that one container is all that's allowed. They got to recycle that.
Touch base with him, because he was around the neighborhood today, because he may already have done that. So I don't know. You might have already touched base with him.
Okay, yeah, I'll talk to him tomorrow.
All right. So we have nothing else. So I would entertain to the body. The second Thursday in April is April 8th. So I would entertain that as the next regularly scheduled Board of Health meeting at 6 p.m., barring any other global disasters.
Okay, Roland, I will not be available the 8th. I will be on vacation.
That's not allowed during COVID.
I'm actually leaving the state. I'm going to announce it to the world. I'm getting out of the state. Going to see my grandkids.
And I'll have my first grandkid by then.
Oh, congrats.
You're first. What are they,
Yeah.
late?
Listen, I didn't start at 12 like you.
So do we want to move it to the 15th?
Do you want to go with April's got 5 Thursdays. Are you around the 15th, Andy?
I am. I got 1 week away.
Does that work for the board?
Yes.
That works.
Okay, so we'll do the 15th, 6 p.m. I
Sounds
will let Beth know, and then scold her for not telling me till 10 minutes after the meeting was supposed to start when she sent me a text. She just sent me one. How was the meeting? Okay, payback. All right, so with no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
Okay. Roll call, Madam Secretary, please.
Anthony Postoli,
Yes.
Nicole Duffy,
Yes.
Roland Larochelle.
Yes, and glad to see you in the camera behind Andy's back for a change. So we'll adjourn the meeting. We'll adjourn the meeting 8:11 PM. Everybody be safe, and you two guys, anytime you want. Like I said,
Okay.
I'll be down there the 20th. It's open from 8 to 2. If you want to stop down for 10 minutes down the site, give me a text, give me a call, and we'll hook up.
All right, sounds good, Roland.
Or any
All
other
right.
time.
I'll be down right afternoon tomorrow, Roland.
All right, perfect. Okay, we are adjourned.
All right.
All right, have a good
folks.
weekend.
Okay, be
Shall.
safe.
Guys.
Show the recording, Miss